What's going on, everyone? I'm just an average American here today to react and learn about the best places to visit in Oslo. Now, Oslo might be the one city that most Americans, or at least a lot of Americans, are at least aware of. They know of it. Americans don't know much of anything about Norway, that's for sure. But if you were to ask them maybe a city in Norway, some Americans might have a chance to say Oslo, I think. But I know now that Oslo is the capital of Norway. It's actually a amazing place. But I think there's some specifics that I could learn, and this video on the best places to visit in Oslo seems like, an extremely fun way to learn about some specific locations in Oslo that are probably pretty cool, because it turns out Norway's pretty cool. So I expect these to probably be just as impressive. And anyway, let's take a look, right?
1. Vigeland Sculpture Park.
Vigeland Sculpture Park. This is like the perfect spot for a tourist to come visit. If it's a bunch of beautiful historic sculptures, a park you can walk around.
One of Norway's most famous tourist attractions is the spectacular Vigeland Sculpture Park, which is located...
I mean, look at this park. I don't travel to a lot of beautiful places in America. I'll admit that, but when I have, they sure didn't look like this, even this park is beautiful, with the spacing of the trees around circling the park, and it's perfectly cut grass. It's like, what? Why is everything so pristine and perfect?
Located within Oslo's famed Frogner Park. This one-of-a-kind sculpture park, which is open all year, is Gustav Vigeland's life work and features 650 of his dynamic bronze, granite, and wrought iron sculptures.
So this is a famous Norwegian sculpture, and he did 650 sculptures, bronze. That's incredible. And the fact that they put them out in public like this, where everyone can go see them, in America, you couldn't do this in America, because Americans, in some places, would paint on them or put graffiti or do something, vandalize, we can't have nice stuff like this.
Most of the sculptures are ranged along an 853-meter axis in 5 themed groups.
Wow.
The oldest is the Fountain Group, which depicts the cycle of human existence, with a 16-meter-high monolith, which is made up of 121 interwoven human bodies.
Yeah, look at this thing. Look at that monolith in the center. That's so cool, man. This would be a fun... It's a bit touristy. It's like a park where you look at history. But, oh God, it's genuinely beautiful and interesting.
Travelers will also want to spend time visiting the rest of Frogner Park, which includes picnic areas, recreational facilities, an extensive rose garden, and the country's largest playground.
Look at some of these sculptures. This is genuinely amazing art as well.
The Oslo City Museum is also located here, as is the Vigeland Museum, which is located just beyond the park.
Wow.
2. Akershus Fortress.
Akershus Fortress. This is some kind of building, or I don't know what makes something a fortress. If it was used in military or something.
The beautiful Akershus Fortress rises above the Oslo Fjord on the Cape of Akerns, built by Khan V at the end of the 13th century.
Okay.
This is a great place to spend the good portion of a day exploring.
Yeah, I mean, this is sorta an old historical building. You might find something that looks like this in America. So at least we have that. So this is kind of something I'd be a bit familiar with.
Take your time wandering the grounds and ramparts, which offer stunning views of the harbor, before visiting...
Oh, that's cool that it's on the water as well. Wow.
The modest chapel, which houses Khan VII's burial and the ruins of the ancient medieval fortress.
Wow.
The Museum of the Norwegian Resistance, often known as the Norwegian Homefront Museum, is also housed on the premises. Prepare to spend a few hours here learning about the German occupation from 1940 to 1945.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of different museums and buildings in this one place, on this fortress, or the grounds. including a German war history? I didn't even really remember that.
Head to the Norwegian Armed Forces Museum at Oslo's historic arsenal if you still have any energy. This intriguing museum houses several weapon displays and exhibits that depict the history of the Norwegian troops and their defense of Norway throughout the years.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, is this some kind of military establishment? And if you go, you can learn about the history of this as like a defense, a fortress. That's cool.
3. Royal Palace.
Royal Palace. So I think Norway has a king, right? There's some kind of monarchy? Is this the royalty's palace?
Norwegian Royal Palace, which dominates the cityscape and is situated up high on the northwestern end of Karl Johans Gate.
Reminds me a lot of the American White House, a little.
Was constructed in 1825. During the summer, the majestic 173-room building is open to the public for guided tours exclusively, with English language guides available 4 times per day.
So, if this is open for American tours, does any royalty actually live here? Like, in the UK, the Queen lives some of the time in Buckingham Palace. So I'm wondering if any Norwegian royalty live here?
The White Parlor, Mirror Hall, Great Hall, Banquet Hall, and other notable rooms in the palace are all included in the tour. All year, visitors are welcome to roam the lawns and gardens or witness the changing of the guard. The Norwegian Nobel Institute is located just south of the palace and is where the Nobel Peace Prize is awarded.
Oh, whoa! I didn't know the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded in Norway or had ties to Norway. I know we're talking about this royal palace, but since he mentioned it, I had no idea. Every American knows about the Nobel Peace Prize. My goodness.
4. Akia Brygge.
Akia Brygge. Is this the whole pier here?
Oslo's Akia Brygge neighborhood, built on an
Oh, it's a neighborhood.
abandoned shipyard, is the city's beating heart. Its gorgeous architecture, that magnificent blend of new and old that perfectly complements Norway's stunning natural beauty, is on show and astounding at all hours of the day.
So it has a lot to do with this shipyard as well. Or it looks like a lot of people actually keep their boats here.
At night, the seafront boardwalk, good shopping, great restaurants, and cozy year-round patio bars with their comfy carpets and fires pull an estimated 12 million visitors to Aker Brygge each year.
Oh, this is a good shot here. Okay, this is like the perfect spot. Okay. American cities love this kind of stuff. Americans love this. We would call it a pier or a boardwalk, where you go and you can kind of hang out. There's stuff to see, there's restaurants to eat from, but this whole place on the water is just like this fun spot to hang out. Yes, love this.
Visit the recently opened Astrup Fearnley Museum of Modern Art while you're there. The museum is divided into 2 buildings. One houses the permanent collection, which includes works by Andy Warhol, Damien Hirst, and Jeff Koons.
So a pretty serious art museum as well.
And the other has rotating exhibitions.
Okay. Cool.
5. Oslo Opera House.
Oslo Opera House. I've never been to an opera. Would this be like a real opera with singing and whatnot? Americans don't usually do opera.
The 1,364-seat Oslo Opera House is home to the Norwegian National Opera and Ballet and the National Opera Theatre.
That's why you go when you're in Oslo and you're at the Oslo Opera House. When else are you gonna see the opera? That's when you do it. So I would see it, just as an experience in the ballet.
Angled external surfaces give it the appearance of slipping into the city's water. The Opera House, which is made of Italian marble and white granite, is Norway's largest cultural structure since the 14th century Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim.
Wow, it's very modern looking. Very nice looking. Never mind that there's a professional opera and ballet here. The building looks incredible.
Aside from the many performances, guests can take part in a range of intriguing public programs and behind-the-scenes excursions, as well as take a stroll on the building's roof to take in the views. If you're in Oslo in August, don't miss the month-long Festival of Chamber Music, which features dozens of chamber music events featuring globally famous performers from all over the world.
Okay. Yes, this is even more people come here to perform when the opera and ballet isn't on. Of course, they use this place as like this beautiful arena to house lots of different acts. Okay, that makes sense.
The majestic Akershus Fortress, with the stunning Oslo fjord as a backdrop, hosts the performances the Oslo Jazz Festival, which takes place in the same month and in the same site, is another major draw for musicians and spectators.
Yeah, I bet famous acts, famous singers and performers, when they tour and go to Oslo, I bet this opera house is one of the main places they would go.
In mid-October, Oslo plays host to the Ultimate Contemporary Music Festival, which includes a competition for new orchestral compositions.
Really? It's cool.
6. City Hall. The
City Hall. Kind of different than the Royal Palace, I guess, but it's just it's like a political building, right?
City Hall, which overlooks the Oslo Fjord, is a massive functionalist structure that was completed in 1950. The project had started approximately 20 years before, but was halted due to the Second World War.
I mean, it is cool looking, but isn't it just a government building?
The City Hall is distinguished by its red brick front and 2 towers measuring 63 and 66 meters in height. Those bricks, which are bigger than modern bricks and much more equivalent to those used in medieval buildings, were fired specifically for this building. The City Hall is decorated both inside and out with images of historical individuals from Norway by some of the country's most prominent artists from the mid-20th century.
I mean, it's a beautiful building. I mean, as far as city halls go, but everywhere has a city hall. But it doesn't surprise me to learn that the city hall in Oslo, like, took it up to 10, like 10 out of 10, and is like just this incredible building.
The sculpture of Harald Hardrada on horseback was created by Anne Grimbillen, whilst in Halvard.
Oh, they have like murals and art on it as well, and the fancy special bricks. Like what?
Oslo's patron saint was sculpted by Nick Schill. The marble-clad main hall also features frescoes by Henrik Estrensen and Alf Rolfsen depicting the city's evolution and major historical events.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice town hall, or city hall.
7. Holmenkollen ski jump.
Oh, here we go. Holmenkollen ski jump. Here's something that you don't exist in America. You would not see this anywhere ever. And it's like I've never seen a ski jump in real life. This looks huge, massive, dangerous, which Americans love. So I'd like to see this in action.
Since 1892, the Holmenkollen Hill has hosted ski jumping contests, providing a link to Norwegian sporting heritage as well as national identity.
Yeah, I know Norway is famous for skiing. I've never seen professional skiing, ever. This is definitely something I would see. I would love to see ski racing, the ski jump. That'd be amazing. I've never seen this.
In 1952, the Winter Olympic ski jumping events were held here, and the FIS Nordic World Ski Championships were hosted here 4 times.
Wow.
The ski museum is housed within the ski jumps framework and takes you on a journey through Norway's 4,000-year history of skiing.
What, can you really sit on either side of the jump, like in the chairs there? You're getting quite close to the track. That'd be really cool view.
There are artifacts from Norwegian polar exhibitions on display, as well as cutting-edge skis and snowboards. The ski jump's highest point features a panoramic observation deck with views of Oslo and its fjord.
Wow. This would scare me.
8. Viking Ship Museum.
Viking Ship Museum. Here we go. This is another thing Americans would love, because Americans really think Vikings are super cool, badass. So Americans would love to see a Viking museum or anything like that.
The Viking Ship Museum, which is part of the University of Oslo's Cultural History Museum, features incredible artifacts from 4 separate Viking burial sites surrounding the Oslo Fjord.
Yeah, this is great.
The Oseberg ship shines brightly in the museum on the Bygdøy Peninsula. This 9th century burial ship was discovered in 1904 to 1905 and is as good as new because it had been sealed in waterproofing.
Yeah, Viking stuff is just so visually stunning, that Americans are drawn to it. It's like, wow, this is awesome.
Mud for so long. Similar ships from Thun and Gokstad, as well as all the objects discovered buried with them, such as beds, tiny boats, a full cart, tent components, wood carvings, textiles, and other valuables discovered in Viking burials are no less interesting.
So this museum has a lot of very well preserved Viking artifacts, like the boat, which is really intact and preserved. That's pretty amazing.
The film Vikings Alive is displayed on the walls and ceiling as you go through, providing additional background on Viking burial traditions.
Okay. Cool.
9. Fram Museum.
Fram Museum. A lot of museums here, but we are talking about kind of touristy places to visit when you go to Oslo, so it makes sense.
This museum in the Bygdøy Peninsula honors the daring polar explorers at the turn of the 20th century, including Fridtjof Nansen, Otto Sverdrup, and Roald Amundsen. The Fram, a wooden ship which was used by all three explorers on both Arctic and Antarctic missions between 1893 and...
Okay, I was like, what is a Fram? The Fram Museum. Americans don't know this word, Fram. It's a... I'm guessing it's a type of boat, a canoe?
In 1912, and went further north and south than any other vessel in history, is the focus of attention here. The Fram, which was extremely large and shallow, had an amazing structure that allowed it to float on top of ice sheets. On board the Fram, you'll learn how humans and their dogs struggled to survive in some of the world's harshest environments.
So is this like a very famous Norwegian style of boat? The Fram?
The Joa, which carried Roald Amundsen via the Northwest Passage for 3 years until 1906, is also on display at the museum. The Northern Lights show, as well as interactive exhibits like the Arctic Simulator, are worth seeing.
Oh, cool. So it's got some interactive museum exhibits and the historical Frams here as well. Okay, this is pretty cool.
10. Oslo Cathedral.
Oslo Cathedral is number 10. Like a church cathedral. I'm guessing the inside is very beautiful.
Oslo Cathedral has been restored and refurbished multiple times since it was consecrated in 1697.
What? Was it burnt down like 300 years ago or destroyed and it had to be rebuilt? Wow, they did a good job.
The tower was rebuilt around 1850 and the interior was refurbished shortly after World War II ended. The main doorway, with its carved bronze doors, as well as the ceiling paintings by H.L. Mower, the Baroque pulpit and altar.
This is like a very unique style of cathedral. Very historical looking. Americans certainly visit cathedrals because it seems like there's famous cathedrals everywhere on planet Earth. So this is certainly something Americans would visit and enjoy.
And the stained glass by Emanuel Vigeland are all noteworthy elements. After that, pay a visit to the Oslo Bazaar, which is located along the medieval church walls. These intriguing halls, which date back to 1841, are now home to galleries, cafes, and antique dealers.
Okay, a bazaar. We don't use that word much, but a bazaar, like a marketplace nearby, that'd be cool. Oh, I think that's it. That's the end. By Global Village. Very nice. I like that. Wow. Okay. That was pretty cool. I'd say most of those places are places that I would definitely consider visiting if I went to Norway, or Oslo, I should specify, if I went to Oslo. A few of these were a little kind of a tourist kind of place where it's like, okay, I might visit 2 or 3 of these museums, but if I'm in Oslo, I'm not just gonna go to a bunch of museums, I'm gonna do some other stuff, like the ski jump, or the statue garden, or something. Those were much cooler, and even still, these were mostly places to visit, whereas there's probably a lot of stuff in Oslo to do, like experiences to do, but this is like a perfect list of narrowing down some of the actual buildings and museums and sites that you want to go walk around in, enjoy. They're mostly historical. So very good for Americans who are coming to as tourists to explore Norway. These were all really cool places in Oslo. But I do think there's probably much, much more to Oslo as well, which I'm interested to find out. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you are interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway, Norwegian places and culture that I've never seen, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.